like to know, as Senate and Congress, obviously there's the checks and balances, and as we've talked so much about the Founding Fathers, Jefferson copied how many lines from John Locke, 17th century Enlightenment thinker, and one of his biggest points was, it is the people's responsibility to question and, if needed, overthrow the government. Why are we supposed to follow this without questioning?
Nobody did question. We asked huge arguments.
But we never got the information. The question didn't get an answer and then followed.
Well, when the president came to Congress about Iraq, there were huge arguments. And they were from both sides of the aisle. It was never out in the press because it was a closed session, closed to the press so people could speak freely without somebody in their district saying, I don't like what he said about the war. And people needed to be able to do that. That session went on for hours.
That's what I'm saying. Don't the people, as in everyone, have a right to know if they should just...
There's some things I would say to you, there are some things that people don't have a right to know.
Why?
Well, if you're an undercover operative, would you like somebody to have your name, address, and phone number? There are things that you do not talk about.
Okay, kind of came back at me with an undercover operative name, address, phone number. That's not necessarily what I mean. I'm talking about, I mean, maybe it's not as relevant now, but we went to war and we were given,
we were given lousy information.
Right, and that lousy information was given to the people. We didn't question enough to act on the lousy information. I'm not saying the people deserve a right to know undercover operatives, but shouldn't it not be a system, oh, we're just going to go to war. Oh, you want a reason? There's a bad guy there, or we want to win.
That isn't the reason. 3,000 people died in New York City in an attack on America. Did you forget that? There was an attack on our native soil.
I'm not talking about that war. I'm talking about the rights to know why the government is doing an action. Be it that war, be it something that might happen in the near future.
You elect a representative to do that job for you. That's exactly what your representatives are supposed to do. They are there to use their brain to figure out what the answers are. Jerry felt very strongly against the Iraq War. He would have voted that way. I didn't feel strongly one way or the other. I felt the president knew a lot more than I did, and I was not could not access that information.
So what you're saying is we should...
I had to trust my president. I had to trust the president. You have to trust your representatives. If you don't like what your representative does, vote them out. That's what it's all about. That's what democracy is.
Well, we keep getting more hands.
I'm going to expand on what he said. It's actually something more recent, okay? You're saying we have to trust the government and their intelligence and then go along with them. Now, what I'm seeing unfold pretty much in this whole country is what, in my opinion, is more or less a police state, okay? Now, if you go to Flight 253, okay, we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars putting body scanners everywhere throughout the country. Now, if you go and check it, okay, because it's back now. There was a man named Kurt Haskell for a month who was an eyewitness on that flight, and he said that that person and the State Department a month later came out and admitted that that person was let onto that plane without a passport, okay? So if this man is allowed onto a plane without a passport, why are we spending all this money putting these body scanners everywhere when all they had to do was check his passport to stop him from getting onto the plane? It's admitted, they admitted it, but the media won't talk about it, so most of the people here probably don't even know about it. How do you explain that, guys?
I don't think there's any explanation for what people do. You have to say
was allowed onto a plane without his passport.
Pretty anger-provoking, isn't it?
Incompetent stupidity on somebody's part.
So they're going to still go and spend all this money and put body scanners at all these airports?
Yeah.
Or something to prevent just by checking the man's passport?
Right, because there are a lot of folks with fake passports. There are a lot of folks who can do various things. And yes, I mean, well, I don't think you can take whether you had a passport, you can forge a passport. I mean, a passport is an important thing. You should not.
The man was escorted.
I understand. I don't know that. I believing
Well,
everything.
it's admitted, the man was
Okay,
escorted.
everything.
He was videotaped.
Wait a minute. Everything you said is true.
I know.
Okay.
How many people?
Except the conclusion that we don't need body scanners. That's not, in my opinion, that's your opinion, and in my opinion, we do.
Where does it stop though? Habeas corpus is gone. The
You know,
Patriot Act that
this is-
Obama
I'll tell you.
swore that he was going to get rid of, he just reenacted it again. What's to stop them from taking any one of us for dissenting against our government and rounding us up and arresting us?
We need to sort some things out. There's fundamental belief in a democracy. The people rule, and that they do so through their elected representatives. And that somebody, not just you,
Overwhelming
but somebody,
bailout for the stimulus to the health care. The majority of the country said no, and they kept running with it.
you know, I'm not disagreeing with the things you said. Just say at some point you have to make a decision. And the jump from no passport, and therefore no body scanners, you lost me. Accepting everything else, I think we still need the security, and we need the security because of what happened in New York City, and what probably, and I hope to God may happen again. Somebody's going to try it again unless we protect. So you got a balance between freedom, total liberty, don't regulate me, don't touch me, let me do everything, don't tax. You know, total freedom versus on the other side a totalitarian state, which is what you're worried about. And it's really, the totalitarian state is not right around the corner, it's a long ways away, and total freedom of the individual is a long way away. We're in the middle here somewhere. And we have to balance those issues. We have to say, is it worth invading a person's privacy? And I'm all for the right to privacy. When they choose to fly on an airplane that could be bombed by an individual who's concealing something on their body. Should we just say, yeah, we don't want to investigate that because that could be a big problem of invading privacy? Well, we could take a vote here and maybe we should. How many would opt in favor of, I'll give up my privacy when I go on an airplane to get on an airplane with a little more security, maybe not 100%. How many would go for the body scanning versus the privacy? Body scanning first. Okay, pretty good. We could be like, no body scanning. Well, this is an interesting group. You're almost divided down the middle, and you got too many that don't know yet.
That's fine. You're saying, oh, okay, there's not going to be 100% secured. Then, even if they invite your privacy, you're still not going to be secure 100%. So, like, what are you securing for real? Like, you know what I mean? What are you securing for real? Because if there's not going to be a...
You know, I can't assure you you're not going to, or I'm not going to ride across the street and hit my bus today.
It's inviting my privacy, though. You know what I mean?
Okay, well...
That your privacy is less important than anyone.
No, what I'm saying,
Well, you heard, but I think all I can say is there's two issues here. Balance those issues in your own mind and deal with them. You know, and if it's so bad, then you either try to change what I'm suggesting or don't fly. You know, that's